You got pretty fired up last night on Jim Rome's show during the PED segment and the government and all that. You were making a couple points there, but what's your take on, government is involved in this sport and not other sports?
Yeah, if you really want to crack down, you really want to, do what you say. It's one thing to yap about it. It's another thing to do it. If the government got involved in all these other sports the way that they are in ours, it would help. This thing is regulated by the thing that I got fired up about, and me and Carvel were arguing about it, is don't go after the old guys, the guys that are already retired and are already gone and have played. They made their money. You're going to spend these. Everybody knew what they were doing in the fucking 80s. Okay, anybody who says they didn't is a liar. If you really want, and the argument is, well, what they're doing, they want kids to see that if this is what could happen. Go after the guys now. Go after the guys that are playing now. Those are the guys you want to go after. Those are the guys you want to bust. They can't. Players union, man. It's all a crock of shit. You either get serious and go after it, or just shut up about it and leave it alone. But I just hate seeing them go after the old guys.
You've used that government argument a long time, but I guess any drug testing expert always says the state testing is the easiest testing to beat. Anybody who's cheating, Victor Conti says you have to be a moron to fail that test. So how do you...
Fuck Victor Conti.
Well,
the guy's a lying, two-faced piece of shit. I can't stand that guy. You're the biggest cheater in the history of the fucking sports world, and now because you can't make a living cheating anymore, you want to flip the other side and start calling people out and pointing fingers? I can't believe anybody even listens to this guy, anybody even quotes this guy. Victor Conti is a two-faced piece of shit.
Well, have you heard his position, though? Why he
I don't care what his
did?
position is.
That's not fair.
I don't care about him. He's a fucking cheater and a liar. Now he's trying to flip the script so that he can make a living on the other side. No, he's a scumbag.
Well, then let's bring some other people up into it. Then
bring somebody credible. Get somebody credible in there that you would listen to. I don't know anybody else other than a guy who got caught for fucking cheating and giving all these guys steroids.
Well, Dr. Goodman then is, she has a company doing that. I mean,
right.
So I guess the argument is,
so what are we talking about? Are we talking about fighting, or are we talking about baseball and football?
So I guess my argument too, you're saying.
So they say the government isn't strong enough. They're not this. They're not that.
They don't have the money to do the.
We're regulated by the fucking government. Right. Some of these places, some of these states we go to, they test the entire card. Some places are random. Some places does the main event and a few other fights that are random. It's better than anybody else's.
Well, I don't want to ruin everybody else's interview, but I guess the question that I'm asking you is the state testing is. Any expert would say is the worst and easiest to beat by people. They don't do carbon isotope ratio testing and all sorts of things. So you're not really finding out because they don't have the budget. So
but it's better. But it's better in baseball or football or.
Yeah, because they do CIR testing.
Oh my God!
It is.
Oh my God! You think they randomly test? You think they're going to test some of their big star players?
It's in their CBA.
That's craziness. Yeah, I mean, if that's what.
Ryan Braun tested positive.
But if that's what people want to believe. And if they really went in there and did real testing, you know what I mean? If the governments can't afford to test, how can they not afford to test? We fight here, however many times a year. Floyd, Pacquiao, and a lot of other big stars fight here every year, and this city makes a lot of money off that.
I agree.
And they don't use it to fund the commission, though. They turn it over to the state.
Then that's what they need to do.
Well, I think it's great that the state's testing. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm just saying that any expert that you talk to in the drug testing field would tell you that the state testing, because of the amount of money they have and the type of testing they do, isn't as strong as other testing. So if you're saying we're regulated by the government as if that is some panacea that, we're doing a great job, I would think that that's not really a fair statement, because they're not really, you can't say that this sport isn't infested with PEDs.
Right. We could debate this all day. And PEDs have been around since people started making money in sports.
Right.
And I don't know what the real answer is to crack down on this whole thing. All I know is we are regulated by the government. They come in and they test our guys. That's a fact. And however you think, if you think football and baseball are really knocking it out of the park, pun intended, you're crazy.
Well, Ryan Braun was the MVP, and he tested positive after he won the MVP. Now the union.
But if you think that they were really testing all the guys in baseball, you think there'd be a fucking baseball game every day of the week? There wouldn't be, man. They'd be pulling guys up from the fucking, from the minors every day. It would be crazy. There's always going to be this thing in sports where somebody's trying to get an edge on the other guy. You know, and as a owner or commissioner or whatever you want to call it, you do the very best that you can do. You do the best that you can do. If you look at our business and the way that our business is run, we got 475 fighters under contract. If you look at the shit that we do every day, we go, and there's so much shit to do, you can't even stay on top of all of it. Now, not only do we test our guys for PEDs, other illegal drugs too. Marijuana, cocaine, or any other drug that's out there. These guys get tested, and there's no penalties out there like our fucking penalties. You know, our guys have to, you lose the ability to make a living for a fucking year. You know? Because that's the other thing. If you're going to bust guys, okay, this guy just got caught. What was the penalty when he got busted?
Well, what's his name? What did Manny Ramirez make, Dave? What was his salary? $20 million? He was making $20 million. He got to spend 100 games. That's $10 million.
Yeah. How many times did Manny Ramirez get busted? I mean,
Three.
Yeah.
3 times.
I know. Manny Ramirez got busted many times to the point where he left baseball, you know? Who else? Who other than Manny Ramirez?
Well,
Tell
Ryan
me.
Braun was the MVP last year.
I mean, I can go through a laundry list of guys that not only got busted for PEDs, but for other illegal drugs and lost the ability to make a living.
And I guess it's a red herring. I don't want to bring in baseball or football only because this is
one of these things that we could argue about for a week. I mean, we could literally sit here for a week and argue about this. This is the system that is in place in all combat sports. We're regulated by the government.
Let me end by asking you this then. Would you consider, as you know, Dr. Goodman is one that's argued that you should do, hiring a company, whether her company or some other company, and say, you know, hers is a nonprofit, so for whatever reason, but, you know, hiring a company to test all your fighters randomly so that you would be saying, I am doing the best possible job that can be done to guarantee that these guys are not fighting while enhanced in any way.
So hire her company or another company to come in and test all the fighters randomly.
And they do that like they do in the Olympics. So they test the guys like they do in the Olympics.
Like what?
So that they might call Junior and say, it's, you know, 10 days ago, hey, we're going to test you, got to pee in a bottle, or we got to take a blood sample, whatever it is. They do that, you know, randomly unannounced.
Right.
So would you consider that?
I have no idea. It's something that I've never even thought of, or, you know, who knows?
I guess one simple question maybe to follow up on that. In your mind, do you think what's being done is enough? I mean, you say what the government's doing. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's enough, or do you think at least people do need to be thinking outside the box and maybe considering other options?
Well, let me ask you a question. Here's one of the other things. If you look at how we're regulated by the government, and I've said this publicly before, I do not think that the penalty should be the same for smoking marijuana as it is for taking performance-enhancing drugs. Yet it is. It's exactly the same. If you get busted, look at Diaz. Look at how long Nick Diaz is out right now, right? For marijuana. Same as a guy who's taking steroids. It's crazy. So the whole system is messed up. And I can guarantee you this, and you know, forget about PEDs. You get into this testing that we're talking about, where you randomly test these guys. You know how many guys would probably test positive for marijuana? It would be probably off the charts. Right. You know what I mean? So if you randomly tested and this came out, they'd get the same exact suspension as they did for PEDs.
Then I guess they just
it's all a big.
You don't break the rules then, right? I think it's stupid that you're penalizing a guy for marijuana.
I don't even smoke marijuana. It's fucking illegal and you shouldn't do it.
Right.
Okay? But the guys are going to get busted. They're going to get the same suspension as they would for a PED. Right. Whereas when you're taking a performance enhancing drug, you go in and you face another fighter. You can hurt him.
Right.
You know what I mean? But for marijuana, it's just crazy. So when you talk, it's so easy to sit there and say, well, here's what we should do, and here's how you fix it. There's so many flaws in the system. It's just not that easy. Mm-hmm. It's not just a, hey, would you sign up this company, and what if you did, and we could randomly test? There'd be a whole shitstorm of other things that would come about. You know, I'll bet you if you did that random testing, because everybody thinks that if you did this random testing, you'd catch so many guys on PEDs. No, you'd catch more of the guys on marijuana. That's where you'd really bust a lot of guys. You know?
That may be true, but I mean, then isn't it up to them, like you said about Nick, follow the rules and don't?
Yes!
You know, it's stupid.
In a perfect world, yes! You think Nick Diaz was busted for marijuana already by the Athletic Commission. Mm-hmm. Then he comes into a fight and does it fucking again. You can't go 2 months without smoking weed? No, you can't, apparently. You know what I mean? No. So there'd be so much of this shit going on, it would be craziness. Mm-hmm. It would be crazy. You would bust more guys with that than you would with performance-enhancing drugs.
Well, commissions don't.
So 475 guys under contract, and 400 of them will be out with marijuana.
Commissions don't. The Nevada Commission found a guy testing positive for marijuana, but it was months before the fight. Nothing. There would be no.
That's not true.
Yeah, on the water code, that is true.
But it depends on fucking nanograms or however this shit works. Listen, I'm not an expert on this shit, but it is illegal. You can't do it. And as he got closer to the fight, you know, that would be one thing. If we were testing, we'd say, dude, you just tested positive for marijuana. But this happened to me already. This already happened to me. I talk to these guys and I'll say, please tell me that you're not smoking marijuana. You know you're going to be tested for all this shit. No, I'm not doing it. I'm this, that, that. They're going to fucking tell me. And I tell these guys, I'm not the police. I'm not the commission. I'm not your dad. You can be honest with me. Let me know what's going on. And I had the same fucking problem with Stephan Bonner. You know what I mean? Stephan Bonner, how do you not tell me that when I pick you to take this fight? I get it. Listen, you're a grown man doing your own fucking thing. You don't have a fight planned. You're down there wrestling, doing pro wrestling, whatever you're doing. But when I call you, right, and we've been in business together for a long time, I care about you. I respect you. I've always done right by you. When I call you and offer you that fight, don't fucking lie to me. Don't lie to me.
Did you ask him specifically?
I'm not talking to him still.
Yeah.
We still haven't talked yet.
But
he knows. He's a smart guy. Stephan Bonner isn't stupid. He's a smart guy. But you know what you're going to do? You're going to jump on the money.
Is it hurting him that he hasn't come out and said anything really yet?
You know, the guys, when something like this happens to you, you're embarrassed. You're ashamed. You know, there's a lot of shit that goes on when this goes down. I'm mad at him. I haven't talked to him, you know. He gave up trying to talk to me. I mean, it's not like I'm never going to talk to Stephan Bonner again. I will, but you know, I'm upset. But it's easy to sit there and say, well, what if you did this and what if you did that? It's just so much more complicated than that. The whole system is a mess. It needs to be, you know, do I want to stop PEDs? Absolutely. Yeah. And that's what the discussion was on Rome the other day. My thing was, never mind going after these guys. It'd be like going after Hagler and all these guys that used to fight and trying to drag them into court, and they spend a bunch of money, and then you catch them, and well, so what? What did you do? You just ripped this guy down, you blew a bunch of his money, and you tarnished his name. What good does that do to sport today? It's a big smoke and mirror bullshit show that they're doing, the government, with all that fucking stupid shit. You want to do it, go after guys right now. Bring them before Congress and ask them if they've ever played steroids and if they've ever taken steroids or whatever. Then what you'll see is, and you really want to affect the children, the kids are going to be like, holy shit, they actually just took this guy out of the game, ripped him apart, and, you know, wow, we better be careful. Maybe we shouldn't do this. Because that's how you stop it. The way that you stop it is, you get these guys that are coming up in high school, you know, and even if it's for MMA, guys that are starting to train young, and they're like, man, if I get on this junk, I'm always going to have to be on it, number one. That's a fact. If you get on it, you always have to be on it. You screw your body up so bad, not only physically, but mentally. And then, you know, that's where you have to stop it. The whole government thing, what they did to the baseball players, is just a fucking freak show. It's a bunch of bullshit. It's disgusting.